A horrifying tale that haunts my very soul, a true account of a nightmarish encounter with the police. It was a dark and stormy night, the wind howling outside, as if warning of the horrors to come. I was driving down a desolate road, my heart pounding with unease. The rain poured relentlessly, obscuring my vision and making the road ahead appear like a sinister abyss. As I pressed on, desperate to reach the comfort of my home, a sudden flash of lightning illuminated the road ahead, revealing a figure standing in the middle of the street. My heart skipped a beat, and I slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching in protest. It was a police officer, clad in a soaked uniform, his face obscured by the hood of his raincoat. Relieved at the sight of an officer, I rolled down my window and called out to him, my voice quivering with fear. "Officer, is everything all right? Do you need help?" The officer remained silent, his gaze fixed on me, piercing through the darkness like a predator stalking its prey. His eyes were hollow, devoid of any humanity, sending a chill down my spine. Growing increasingly uneasy, I reached for my phone to call for assistance. But before I could dial, the officer's hand shot up, signaling me to stop. I froze, my fingers hovering above the screen, unable to comprehend the sinister aura emanating from this supposed guardian of the law. With slow, deliberate steps, the officer approached my car. Each footfall echoed ominously in the stillness of the night. He leaned in, his face now visible in the dim glow of the car's interior light. His features were twisted, disfigured, like a grotesque mask worn by a sadistic puppeteer. I recoiled in horror, a primal fear coursing through my veins. What do you want?" I stammered, my voice barely audible. The officer's lips curled into a twisted smile, revealing rows of jagged, yellow teeth. His voice, when he finally spoke, was a sickening blend of a hiss and a growl. "You've trespassed into forbidden territory," he whispered, his voice dripping with malice. "And now, you must pay the price." I fumbled for the car door, desperate to escape this nightmarish encounter. But as I reached for the handle, the officer's hand shot out, gripping my wrist with an unnatural strength. Agonizing pain coursed through my body as his grip tightened, threatening to crush my bones. I cried out in anguish, my pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. In a last desperate attempt to save myself, I summoned all my strength and kicked the officer with all my might. He stumbled backward, releasing his grip on my wrist. Seizing the opportunity, I scrambled out of the car, running blindly into the darkness, rain pelting against my face like 1,000 icy needles. Behind me, I could hear the officer's demonic laughter, growing louder and more menacing with every passing second. The sound echoed through the night, as if mocking my feeble attempt to escape. The pursuit continued, the officer's steps growing closer, his sadistic laughter reverberating in my ears. I stumbled upon an abandoned shack, its dilapidated walls barely standing against the forces of nature. With no other options left, I ducked inside, praying for sanctuary from the nightmare that pursued me. As I cowered in the darkness, my breath ragged, I could sense the officer's presence outside, his unholy aura seeping through the cracks in the walls. Time lost all meaning as I waited, the minutes stretching into an eternity. Just when I thought I had escaped his clutches, the officer burst through the door, his eyes burning with a malevolence that defied all reason. With an otherworldly strength, he lunged at me, his hands outstretched like talons. In that moment of despair, an unseen force came to my aid. The shack trembled, its walls groaning under an invisible weight. I watched in awe as the officer was flung against the wall, his body contorting in an unnatural manner. He let out a blood-curdling scream, a sound that still haunts my nightmares to this day. As abruptly as it began, the horror ceased. The officer's lifeless body crumpled to the ground, his disfigured features frozen in a permanent mask of terror. I stumbled out of the shack, my body bruised and broken, but my spirit unyielding. To this day, I cannot explain what truly happened that night. Was the officer possessed by a malevolent force? Or was he a manifestation of the darkness that resides within us all? One thing is certain, I will forever be haunted by the memory of that true disturbing police horror story, a nightmarish encounter that shattered my perception of safety and thrust me into a world where evil lurks in the most unexpected of places.